Have you ever wondered how humanity could allow the Holocaust, one of the darkest periods in human history, to occur? It's a question that haunts us, a chilling reminder of the depths to which humanity can sink. In the heart of the 20th century, a horror unfolded that defies comprehension. Millions of innocent lives were extinguished, their stories abruptly ended. This was the Holocaust, an event so vast, so terrifying it shakes us to our core. This is a journey to understand the unthinkable. The Holocaust did not happen overnight. It began with the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party in Germany. Adolf Hitler, a charismatic speaker and a man with a destructive ideology, rose to power in the early 1930s. He was able to tap into the discontent felt by the German people after the Treaty of Versailles, which ended the First World War, but left Germany in a state of economic and social despair. Hitler's ideology, deeply rooted in anti-Semitism and a belief in racial purity, was adopted by the Nazi Party. As Hitler's influence grew, so did the acceptance of these dangerous ideas. The socio-political climate of the time, marked by economic instability and a widespread sense of national humiliation, created a fertile ground for Hitler's rise to power. His charismatic speeches and promises of a better future resonated with the masses, leading to his appointment as chancellor in 1933. This was the beginning of a dark chapter in human history. Once in power, Hitler and his Nazi regime implemented what they called the final solution. This was not a solution to any problem that existed in the world, but rather a horrifying plan to exterminate a whole race of people. The final solution was the Nazis' systematic attempt to murder every single Jew within Germany's grasp during World War II. It marked a terrifying escalation in Hitler's plan to rid Europe of its Jewish population. The Nazis called this plan the final solution to the Jewish question, a phrase that was chilling in its euphemistic simplicity. Imagine a world where human life is reduced to numbers on a list, a world where people are transported like cattle to their deaths. This was the world that the Nazis sought to create. They established a network of concentration camps across Europe, the most infamous being Auschwitz, where millions of Jews were sent to be enslaved, exploited, and ultimately killed. The conditions in these camps were beyond comprehension. People were packed into cramped, filthy barracks where disease was rampant and death was a daily occurrence. Food was scarce and the work was brutal. The victims were subjected to inhumane medical experiments and brutal beatings. Those who didn't succumb to starvation or exhaustion were often led to gas chambers, where they were killed en masse. This was not a random act of violence or a spontaneous outburst of hatred. It was a meticulously planned and systematically executed genocide, the likes of which the world had never seen before. The Nazis used propaganda, fear, and the machinery of a modern state to carry out the mass murder of 6 million Jews. They exploited the very institutions that were supposed to protect people, the law, the police, the medical profession, to carry out their horrific deeds. The final solution was a euphemism for a systematic plan of genocide. It was a plan that sought to erase a whole race of people from the face of the earth. This was the horrifying reality of the Holocaust, a chapter in human history that we must never forget. In 1945, as Allied forces closed in, the horrific reality of the Holocaust was revealed to the world. Suddenly the veil was lifted and the chilling truth of what had been happening in concentration camps across Europe was laid bare. The liberation of these camps was a bittersweet moment of triumph intertwined with unimaginable horror. As soldiers from the United States, Britain, Canada, and Russia advanced, they stumbled upon sights of unimaginable suffering. Emaciated survivors barely clinging to life were found alongside the bodies of those who hadn't made it. The world watched in stunned silence as the grim images of liberation were broadcast. Each photograph, each survivor's account, a damning testament to the monstrosities that had been perpetrated. The global community recoiled in shock and grief. The sheer scale of the atrocities committed was beyond comprehension, yet, amidst the devastation, there was also a resolve to ensure justice for the victims. This led to the establishment of the Nuremberg trials. The Nuremberg trials, held in the aftermath of the war, were a landmark moment in the pursuit of justice. High-ranking Nazi officials were held accountable for their actions, charged with war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. It was the first time in history that individuals were prosecuted for carrying out actions in line with their government's policy. The trials set a precedent establishing the principle of individual accountability in international law. Yet the trials were not only about holding those responsible to account. They were also about bearing witness to the victims' suffering, about making sure their stories were heard and remembered. The harrowing testimonies given during the trials served as a stark reminder of the depths of cruelty humans are capable of. The world had seen the depth of human cruelty and vowed never again. Yet this vow is more than a promise to remember. It is a commitment to learn from the past, to challenge hatred and prejudice wherever they appear, and to strive for a world where such atrocities are unthinkable. It is a reminder to all of us that we must be vigilant, for the seeds of hatred can grow in any soil. The Holocaust serves as a stark reminder of the depths to which humanity can sink when hatred goes unchecked. This cataclysmic event of the last century has left indelible lessons that resonate deeply in our hearts and minds even today. The Holocaust taught us the lethal power of hate. It demonstrated the devastating effects when this hatred becomes institutionalized, turning neighbors against neighbors, friends against friends. It highlighted the dangers of silence and indifference, of turning a blind eye to injustice and oppression. But amid the darkness, we also find glimmers of hope and resilience. The survivors of the Holocaust, those who endured the unimaginable, teach us about the strength of the human spirit, the will to survive, and the power of resilience. Remembering the Holocaust isn't just about commemorating the past, it's about shaping our present and our future. It's about upholding the values of tolerance, respect, and understanding, and rejecting hate, bigotry, and discrimination in all their forms. There are ongoing efforts worldwide to prevent such atrocities from happening again. These include education about the Holocaust, promoting human rights, and fostering a culture of peace and mutual respect. As we remember the Holocaust, we must continually strive to uphold human dignity and prevent such atrocities in the future. The lessons of the Holocaust are not just historical, they are profoundly relevant today, guiding us towards a more compassionate and humane world.